All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, we've got so much to get to. It's absolutely insane. So many clips to get to as well. But I want to start with this. What's happening in Minnesota? Obviously, Minnesota continues to be a huge story, and it's going to continue to be a huge story. And it's not going away anytime soon. Right now, you have President Trump considering the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis, and I want him to impose the Insurrection Act, but I do have some hesitation, and and the only reason that I say that is because I know what the left is going to try to do. The left wants Trump to impose the Insurrection Act. The left wants Trump to impose the Insurrection Act, and so that they can have the headlines, so that they can have the pictures, so that they can have the video. That's exactly why they wanted Renee Good. They're absolutely good. They're absolutely fine with Renee Good being shot and killed. They wanted that. I hate to say that. They absolutely wanted that. We'll play video a little later of her her father-in-law or former father-in-law. He appeared on CNN. We'll play that video for you a little bit later. But we now know that the ICE agent that was hit by Renee Good did sustain injury, did sustain internal bleeding. I've heard a couple of stories. I've heard it was in his hip area that he had some internal bleeding. I heard that it was in his torso that he had some internal bleeding. I'm not sure which is accurate. If both are accurate, that I don't exactly know. But what I do know is that there is now obviously overwhelming proof after the video was unleashed that this ICE agent did exactly what he needed to do in order to protect his own life. And it's sad that she died, in my opinion, for absolutely nothing. I still don't understand why. I'm hoping at some point that her lover will be brought up on charges. That was not her wife legally. I found that out the other day. Did not realize that. But this is absolutely, absolutely crazy. And now I want you to consider what's happening in Minnesota and what the left wants you to forget about. I've got several stories here that I want to bring to your attention, um, including this Somali suitcase story. Got 36,000 refugees that couldn't provide. Okay, so we're in a little bit of trouble. We're in a little bit of trouble. So let me say this. We're in trouble because here's what the left did, and we all know this, and this is what they're trying to do. The left is trying to fundamentally transform America. They're trying to, and I mentioned this before on Dennis Prager's show. The left wants us to feel like we're foreigners in our own country. And when I speak of the left, I'm not talking about the useful idiots. There's a lot of useful idiots, even on TV. And I'm not trying to be mean. I just believe that even some of the leftists think that. For example, I think that Mayor Fry, I think that he's a leftist. I think he knows exactly what he's doing by inciting his community, by inciting his voters to attack ICE agents. With the second ICE agent being attacked, yes, actually, there's been more, but this one was pretty severe, where literally a ICE agent tried to arrest a Venezuelan national or legal alien, basically. The guy fights the ICE agent. The ICE agent chases him down, tries to arrest him. The guy continues to assault the ICE agent. Two of his homies or two other Venezuelans come out of a house or apartment or something and start wailing on the ICE agent. He shoots the assailant in the leg, for self-defense. Honestly, the guy is lucky he's alive. And I don't know if the agent, I doubt that he intentionally tried to shoot him in the leg. I wish he would have aimed a little higher, just being honest with you. But perhaps just to get a shot off, he did that. And I'm sure the others scurried. But the bottom line is the left wants this chaos. They want the look of this. They want to be able to say they have nothing else to run on. So they want to be able to say Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. And they believe that will get them through the midterms. And it may or may not. But I believe that Americans have a short memory. So I do believe that if Trump does decide to invoke the Insurrection Act, in the state of Minnesota, in the city of Minneapolis. He should do it quick, fast, and in a hurry. Get the place under control. There's only a couple of places in the United States where they are having these problems with these rogue mayors and this rogue governor in Tim Walz, who Tim Walz, I think he's going to jail. But it's in these sanctuary cities. These sanctuary cities are not cooperating with federal law. Frankly, I don't even understand that. Perhaps I'm going to have to get an attorney on to speak about this. I don't even know how it's possible that these states are able to ignore federal law like this and to become sanctuary cities and not cooperate with federal law enforcement. All of these people have to do, like in the state of Minnesota, all they have to do, and Tom Homan has talked about this, you have people that exist inside of these jails, illegals, criminals that are already inside of the jails in some of these states, cities, counties, whatever. All you have to do is have an ICE officer come in and escort them out and, start the deportation process or whatever process they need to start with them. Instead of doing that, these sanctuary cities are letting these people out, not arresting these people. And so now you have ICE agents that have to basically go hunt them down. And instead of using 1 or 2 ICE agents to escort a criminal that's already in jail and already contained out of the jail or out of prison, now they got to go find them in the streets. And of course, that's going to cause a lot of chaos. And again, that's exactly what the left wants. That's exactly what they want. That's why I believe they want Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act, because we know the left is going to go completely crazy. And don't mistake what's happening in Minnesota. What's happening in Minnesota, this is an insurrection. And I think we need to start framing it that way. Perhaps Minnesota Insurrection 2026 or the Minnesota, one way or another, we have to start framing it this way, because what we're seeing in the streets in Minnesota are absolute and utter chaos. The left constantly wants to harp on J6. The vast majority of J6ers committed misdemeanors, trespassing charges. They upped the charges. Merrick Garland did at the behest of Joe Biden because he really wanted to stick it to the J6ers. And then they came out with this whatever old law that had these guys spending time in jail without even getting their day in court. It was absolutely insane what they were doing to some of these J6ers. But never forget the BLM riots, the Antifa riots, where you had billions of dollars worth of damage that was caused in the summer of love in 2020. And this is what they're trying to replay again in Minneapolis. I don't think it'll work this time, but the left is going to do their darndest because they want to be able to take back the House at the very least. They're hoping for the Senate. I believe their chances are less likely there. And I'll share some stuff with you. Gabe, how much time do we have in this segment? Okay, if we have time, let me play. Let's play cut number 12 again. This is an oldie but goodie. We played it the other day. But before I get into some of the newer clips,
so I've been
12, please,
researching this issue of fraud, and most specifically Somali fraud, because it is so gargantuan for the past 7 years. Many of you are familiar with the video that Nick Shirley and I made.
Okay.
We have a second video that's coming out Monday that is 10 times worse than the original video. It's going to be pretty shocking and it's pretty graphic. So what I have here is a 5-year recap of all of the CCAP money, that's child care assistance payments, for the last 5 years. The top 102 recipients of that, 84 of them are Somali owned. You know how many children I've seen at those child care centers over the last 7 years? 0, not 1. There's another pile of money, and it's called Great Start. And that money is given to the facility to train their staff. Well, if you don't have any kids, you don't need any staff. Then what I believe is the core of all this, the core of all this is this non-emergency medical transportation. So a search showed that Minnesota recognizes 1,020 NEMT companies. Almost 900 of them are Somali owned. So in the second video, Nick Shirley and I went to 16 of them. I've actually been to about 70 of them.
Wow.
They don't exist. They're in an apartment building. One of them's a liquor store. Another one's a wire transfer. Another one is something totally unrelated. It's a grocery store. there are no vehicles, and the average NEMT company in the United States has 20 vehicles, and each vehicle generates about $70,000 a year. So you run those numbers, 800 companies, 20 vehicles, $70,000 a year,
Wow.
and it's an enormous sum of money that's going out. So my feeling is that chasing the money transfers and the wires and the SARS is great, but you got to drop like Batman on Minnesota DHS, because they're the ones who are writing the checks. They're the ones allowing the fraud to happen. Look, you can blame the Somalis, but if you stick your hand out and someone puts $100 in it, you're going to stick your hand out again.
Let's pause it there. When we return, I want to pick up right where we left off. This is important. There's a new video out as well that will show you, but it's important that you understand what's happening in Minnesota. I believe Minnesota and California are going to be the epicenter of fraudulent Democratic donations. We'll be back. Before I go on any further, guys, let me talk to you about MyPillow. This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history, or at least 2025, and it's because of loyal listeners like you that they're still standing strong. To show their appreciation, they're offering right now, they still have their special Christmas savings that are exclusively for my listeners. You can get the children's baby or Bible story pillow 5-pack, for just $29.98. My slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98, and a variety of blankets and comforters and duvets starting as low as $25 plus. There's a major blowout deal on the standard MyPillow. It's just $14.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Use the promo code CARL, C-A-R-L. I don't spell it like the communists, to unlock these wholesale prices. That includes the standard MyPillow, originally $49.98. Now it's just $14.98. Queen sizes are marked down to $18.99, and you can get a king size for just $1 more. You already know that MyPillow comes with a 10-year warranty, but they've just announced an incredible update. They have their 60, if you purchase before Christmas, all right, their 60-day money-back guarantee is being extended. Orders placed between now and for orders placed between now and March 1st. All right, they have they're going to extend their guarantee all the way through March 1st, I should say, through to March 1st of this year. So anyway, mypillow.com, promo code Carl. Okay, and so that's what I believe. I do believe, you guys may or may not recall that it's been some years now, but when Gavin Newsom basically announced this EV mandate by 2030 to basically flip all the cars, force people out of their ICE engines, and force everybody to try to buy EVs, even people that obviously can't afford EVs because they're very expensive vehicles, many of them. Minnesota followed suit, and everything that California did, Minnesota was starting to do under Tim Walz. And I always thought that was a little odd. I'm like, okay, it's the Midwest. I realize it's a weird state. It was a seemingly purple state, but and then it went from maybe a bluish purple to blue, and it just started getting further and further and further left. And now there's speculation. Now, obviously, I can't prove this. I don't know this. Others have said it. I'm not the only one to say it. But now there's speculation that perhaps Tim Walz was only picked as Kamala Harris's VP simply because he could deliver the dinero. What if it's true? Or what if the case is that Minneapolis or Minnesota is the epicenter for Democratic funding? Besides the U.S. aid that we know George Soros and the lefties were using those types of things to turn the world left and fund some of these radical groups right here in the United States of America. But what if a lot of this taxpayer money, what if it was a quid pro quo? You bring in a lot of these foreigners that don't want to assimilate into America, that don't appreciate America. You put them on welfare, and you give them kickbacks. They vote for you. It's the circle of life. within the Democrat Party. I think that's what's going on. I think that's what we're going to get to. There's a couple stories here that I want to bring to your attention. Obviously, I want to talk about Iran too, but this was in Just the News. So bear with me for just a minute because I got to read some of this. The Just the News reported, quote, this is the headline: Somali suitcase stash. Feds say 130 million moved from Ohio airport to Minnesota on one way overseas. All right. So officials told Just the News the TSA agents tracked and flagged about $136 million in bulk cash and outbound luggage at the passenger checkpoints at John Glenn Columbus International Airport since November of 2023. This follows reports that millions of dollars were discovered leaving Minnesota airports. What's going on? Federal agents investigating a Somali immigrant operation that moved massive amounts of cash in suitcases from the Minneapolis airport to overseas have uncovered a new leg of the courier journey. That's Columbus, Ohio. Homeland Security Department officials said the TSA officers tracked and flagged, again, $136 million in bulk cash in outbound luggage at the passenger checkpoints at the Columbus airport. The cash movements were made by U.S. citizens, but of Somali origin, who flew out of the Columbus airport because in Columbus, they have the second largest population of Somali immigrants in the United States, besides Minneapolis. So the citizens of Somali origin, they flew out of Columbus airport en route to to either the airports in Minneapolis or Atlanta. And the couriers always declared the cash as legally required on documents. This, according to officials. Here's what an official familiar with the case said. Typically, or with the investigation, quote, typically when they go to Minneapolis, he says, they drop off the cash and then a subsequent courier travels abroad from Minneapolis to Dubai through Amsterdam. What? The officials said they appear to have uncovered a massive cash movement operation that gathered money from multiple Somali immigrant communities in the West, Midwest, and South that eventually brought luggage filled with currency to Minneapolis for flights overseas. Just the News also reported that the TSA, just last week, that the TSA detected nearly $700 million in cash and luggage leaving the Minneapolis airport in 2024 and 2025, frequently headed en route to Amsterdam and then Dubai, where U.S. officials lost the tracking. The TSA agents routinely alerted investigators during the Biden years, but there was little interest in probing the money movements further until Trump took office last year. Guys, this is why they're going to go crazy. This is why, listen, if Trump does, and I frankly hope he does, because you can't have ICE agents out there risking their lives. These people, they're not protesters, they're insurrectionists. So let's stop calling them protesters. But you got to move in with quickness and with with force. And at the same time, this Mayor Fry, this Tim Walz, there needs to be an investigation done expeditiously. Like, get through. If these guys are going to be cuffed, they need to be cuffed. This stuff can't go on forever. And honestly, I think the longer this drags on, as good as it is for us, and as all of us that love the red meat, we love seeing what's happening. I want more illegals deported. I don't want people in the country that don't want to assimilate into this country. And I don't want people cutting in line. There's people that want to come to the United States and they want to come here legally. And even that, I think there needs to be a moratorium on. But they want to come legally, come the right way, then I'm all for that. But you should not be allowed to cut in line, because all the Democrat Party wants is they want basically a new slave trade. They don't want people to come to the United States for the American dream. They want them to come to the United States so that they'll be perpetually in bondage to the Democrat Party, perpetually owing the Democrat Party, so that this entire United States will become a United States, a one-party nation. That's the goal. That is the goal. And this is getting really, really disconcerting to me. And so I appreciate that Trump is fighting this stuff, But I think they've got to punch hard and they've got to punch quickly. There's no doubt with the resistance that we're seeing in Minneapolis from Fry and from Walz, that tells me that they're corrupt. That tells me not just that they're leftists that are mad. That tells me they are corrupt. They want to hide something. They are inciting people to violence. So you forget the fraud, but we're not going to forget the fraud. We'll be back. Okay, guys, welcome back. All right, a couple of videos that I want to play for you. And again, just continuing with this Somali fraud thing, because it's not just, we're talking about the stories with the ICE agents, and those are very important stories. We're talking about whether or not President Trump is going to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. I think, listen, I want him to do it. I understand what that comes with. The optics are not going to look good. That's exactly what the left wants. The left wants Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act because they want everybody to forget about this fraud. They want pressure to be so great on the Trump administration that Republicans get weak-kneed and they tell Trump, hey, lay off of what's happening in Minnesota, and these guys will continue to get away with it. But we can't. We can't do it. These people are corrupt as all get out, and justice needs to be served. I'm going to play you two clips, or Gabe is. First with cut 30. This is Joy Reid. It says that Renee Good was trained part of a network that's using white bodies. So Joy Reid in this particular clip is the useful idiot. And I want to make a distinguishment. I do believe, like I said, there are leftists like Fry who I think know exactly what they're doing. Tim Walz, who knows exactly, even though Tim Walz is a little dumb, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt in my mind he's a leftist. He is a mean guy. And he's still inciting violence against ICE agents because he would rather they get hurt than he lose his career and obviously go to jail. And it looks like that could happen. But here's Joy Reid, the useful idiot. I want to play this part too because Joy Reid is a useful idiot. This lady has a Harvard degree. I believe it's Harvard. She went to one of the Ivy League schools. And we know how, just listening to her. But she went to one of the Ivy League schools. Her theory is totally debunked with Renee Good being shot. Listen to what she's saying. And white liberal women out there, literally, because they want to feel morally superior, because they want to feel some type of virtue, whatever it is that they're wanting to feel. These ladies are being brainwashed, I believe, on college, in high school, perhaps online, and they're willing to throw their bodies in front of cops because they believe that they won't be hurt by cops, but brown people will be. Now, Renee Good just proved that that's complete and utter nonsense. If you're interfering and if you're impeding on law enforcement operations, no cop cares what color you are. He cares or she cares whether or not he or she are going to be able to go home to their family at the end of the day. If they're going to be able to keep the community safe. That's all they care about. Especially when their lives are on the line. When they have to make a split-second reaction. Do you think the gentleman that shot Renee Good sat there and said, wow, I'm glad I wish I was shooting a black lady or a black man right now running me. No, I mean, just think of how silly this is. But as long as you have useful idiots like this, more people will probably, at least on the left, focus on the ICE agents as opposed to the fraud. They're both very important stories. But the reason why Fry and Walz continue to rile these people up is because they don't want us to look at the fraud. I am at a point where I am convinced that if we were to undo this quid pro quo between illegal immigrants coming to this country and receiving welfare, if we were to undo that and the fraud between the illegal immigrants and the Democrat Party, again, receiving welfare, they come into this country, they should not be, illegal aliens should not be receiving any welfare. If you come to this country, You shouldn't come to this country unless you have a sponsor, the way that it used to be, some family member or some family that would say, listen, if they come to this country, we're going to make sure they don't go on welfare. We're going to take care of them till they get a job and they can sustain on their own. You should not come to this country and say, you know what I want to do is take from the American citizens, from the hardworking taxpayers. Well, stay your butt home. But the left knows that they can bring these people out here, use these people, and continue to stay in power. And this is what's being disrupted. And this is why it's going to get nastier and nastier and nastier. So if Trump is going to invoke the Insurrection Act, you have to hold a press conference. I almost think you need to hold perhaps daily. This is what we're accomplishing. You got to show who the criminals are. A lot of these illegals that are literally committing some of the most heinous crimes that I shared with you the other day. Let's play clip number 31. The other night on CNN, Rebecca Good's former father-in-law appeared, and this is what he had to say. It blew me away. I was so glad he was able to say it, sharing Bible verses straight up on CNN, because Lord knows they need it on CNN. But beyond that, this is the type of man that would bring calm to a situation. And it's exactly, in my opinion, what CNN did not want to hear. Cut 31, Gabe.
No, nothing about charges or anything that, just an investigation into what happened in terms of the ICE agents' actions. But they were, according to the prosecutors resigning today, pressuring them to investigate Renee's actions and Becca, her wife's actions. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's a hard situation all the way around. It's hard for for everybody involved. I mean, the ICE agent, at first I didn't see the footage where, he was actually, he was actually being ran. I mean, I seen the bump of the car hitting his legs. And so in a flash like that, it's hard to say how you would react. From my understanding that he had been through that before, maybe dragged or something. And so, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any many enemies. I love everybody, and that's what the Bible tells us: love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But I think there's some bad choices, and the word says, "For the wrath of God will come upon the children of disobedience." And it's I don't blame ICE. I don't blame Rebecca. I don't blame Renee. I just wish that if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there. That's the way I look at it.
She doesn't even know how to respond to that. And if Renee Good is walking in the Spirit of God, some might take that as, okay, she shouldn't have been in the relationship that she was in. Because that's unbiblical. She shouldn't have been impeding with law enforcement. I'm sorry. As a believer, you have a duty to obey law enforcement unless they are actually doing something that is completely unlawful and ungodly. I'm sorry. Arresting illegal aliens that are committing heinous acts on children for Renee Good to try to stop them. All she did, Renee Good, I hate to say this, but it's true. What she did was help to perpetuate evil in Minneapolis by stopping ICE agents, by becoming a part of this Minnesota ICE watch where they were taunting and blocking and doing everything they could to impede in the operation of ICE agents. Here's something that's really here, but here's what I don't want you to lose sight of. If we could go to cut number 37, Nick Shirley came out with some more video. And honestly, these people. Okay. All right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that after the break, because we don't have enough time to play the video in its entirety. I want to make sure that we do that. I mean, I still have Iran to get to. Again, we talked about some of the things that Trump can do to strengthen the economy. I want to talk to you about some of the Senate seats that are at play. Guys, we have to do our best to try to retain the House, or make sure that Democrats have a razor-thin margin where they can't get anything done. I know we're a long ways away from the election, but guys, please understand, when you see this story, when you see what's happening in Minnesota, they're telling you exactly what they have been doing and what they want to do. They want to make the entire United States like California and like Minnesota. They want one party rule nationwide. And I do believe this is an opportunity. And I know we say this every election cycle. This is the most important election ever. Well, you know what? We're going to have several of the most important elections ever. And I believe 2026 midterms are going to be, and I believe the 2028 presidency is going to be. I, for one, believe that we need I think we need the presidency in 2036 as well, because the left has gone crazy and we've got to stop them. It's as simple as that. We'll be back. Okay, all right. Welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, this is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. I'm going to go over some Senate races soon here, guys. I promise you. But right now, we're talking about the Minnesota insurrectionists. Trump is considering invoking the Insurrection Act. Also, America has been recrowned as the superpower. I want to talk about that, what's happening in Iran. Frankly, I'm hoping that the Ayatollah is toppled. As a matter of fact, there is here's my problem, guys. I have a stack of junk in front of me that I go through, and I will sometimes misplace stuff in my own stack of brilliance. So, and I just did. But anyway, we'll play that momentarily. But before we went to the break, we were going to play a cut. Oh, let's play, if we could, let's play cut number 37. All right, because we played, I think we played Joy Reid. We played the former father-in-law of Renee Good. We played Joy Reid literally disproving her fact and her theory and not even realizing it. Like, okay, you can just, white people are out there, white liberal chicks basically are out there to throw themselves in front of the cops because they're privileged. The cops won't shoot them. Yeah, they will if they feel like their lives are in danger. And if they're impeding in law enforcement operations, and if they feel like their lives are under reasonable threat, they can, and perhaps they should, depending on the scenario. But anyway, let's go to, don't forget what's happening. Let's go to cut number 37. This is Nick Shirley with more of his bombshell investigation into what's happening in Minnesota. And frankly, I don't even think Nick Shirley needs to go anywhere besides Minnesota and California. I think these places are going to be, again, the quid pro quo king states, so to speak. We're going to invite illegals into the country. We're going to give them welfare. They're going to become dependent on us. We're going to that money is going to circle right back into Democratic coffers. And we're going to create ways so that it could be circled back into Democratic coffers. And these people can get hooked up. Exactly what's happening in Minnesota. Let's play cut number 37, please, Gabe.
How are you doing? Yes, sir.
Get out.
Okay, listen.
Get out. This is our business.
Hear each other, okay?
Yes,
What are you
sir.
looking for?
We don't care what you do on the
We're-
parking lot.
Go this side.
They know who he is.
This private.
I can be here in the
No,
parking lot.
no. You don't be here.
Wait,
What are
can
you
we
looking
ask
for?
you about the daycare? It's all
What are
right.
you looking
It's all
for?
right. Can we ask you about the daycare?
No. I don't care, Ken.
Sir, I'm not
You
racist.
have to live here.
I'm asking you.
No. You don't ask me nothing. man.
$2.25 million.
Get out, you guys. Get out. This is
$2.5 million.
Get out.
This is a business.
Get out, hey. Get out. What are you looking for?
We're asking. We just want to
Get out.
We just want to ask you about $2.25 million.
Get out.
You say,
Get out.
out of here, man.
Get out, guys. Get out.
You cannot do that.
Get out. No, you cannot. You cannot do that.
Where?
Get out.
This is.
Get out, man. No. Get lost. Get out. No.
Sir.
You have to get out. This is our problem. Get out.
Why?
Get out.
Can I ask you about the daycare? I have the paperwork right here.
No. Get out.
What's the need for $2.25 million for a
I'm telling
daycare?
you, get out. Get
Can
out.
you answer the question?
Get out. No, I don't ask you any question. You guys, get out.
You can't answer the
Get
question.
out. No. What are you? Who are you?
My name's Nick
Who are you?
Shirley.
No, I don't.
Okay,
give
you
a-
can
Get out.
Could you?
you can cut it. You can. Who are you? They know exactly who he is, and these people are absolutely terrified because they've been uncovering businesses that literally don't exist. And I believe a lot of these people are showing up to some of these places to try to pretend as if they have legitimate operations going on, and they simply do not. And who knows? Maybe a couple of those may be the exception to the rule. But obviously they're going crazy over this, as well they should be, because they're being exposed. And I got to be honest with you, I don't even blame the Somalis. I don't. I know this may upset some of you guys, but if Democrats are saying, hey, you guys come here to the United States, You come here to Minneapolis. We're going to make this a refuge. We're going to make this a safe haven where you're going to be able to live a life of luxury off of the backs of other Americans. I'm sorry. A lot of people, I think, from foreign countries, particularly when you come from a country like Somalia, where we're literally, they don't even have a functioning government. And those people that are in place are corrupt as all get out. It's what they know. And Democrats know this. There's some more news I want to share with you before I get to these races. There's some good news. Okay. Oh, man, this was crazy. This is from Epic Times. 36,000 refugees could not provide IDs when entering the U.S. This is what President Trump is putting a stop to. And obviously, he's also ended temporary status for some of these Somalis. So this happened the other day. The Trump administration decided to end TPS, or temporary protection status, for Somali nationals in the U.S. Temporary obviously means temporary, is what Kristi Noem said. She also went on to say country conditions in Somalia have improved to the point that it no longer meets the law's requirement for temporary protected status, further allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interest. We're putting Americans first, she says. So this according to the Epic Times, there are 2,741 Somali nationals in the U.S. under the status. Another 1,383 are in the country with pending TPS applications. All right. So, and it's authorized by federal law for people from countries with conditions such as civil war. And apparently, the Biden administration in 2024 extended the TPS for Somali nationals until March 17th of 2026. All right, you can't do that. Or technically you can, but Trump has the ability to be able to X that out, and he did just that. And I'm so thankful that he did. Listen, again, America is the greatest country that God has ever given man. Despite the fact that the left is trying to tear it down, it breaks my heart. It makes me sad. But if you're not going to come here to work for and try to experience the American dream, then don't come here. And you shouldn't have temporary protected status. But it's one thing that Biden wanted to do, which makes me think, okay, going back to Tim Walz being picked as VP, Biden offering that TPS, that temporary protected status. How many of these people perhaps are business owners in the Minneapolis area? I mean, one has to wonder. Obviously, they had something going on there, something else that we need to be concerned about. And this is why I believe that Iran and what's happening in the Middle East is so important. Guys, let me remind you of the BRICS nations. You have Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and South Africa. These are nations that want to tear us down, not to mention North Korea, not to mention we have our allies are so weak. It's absolutely insane. Our NATO allies, it drives me absolutely nuts. You look at places like the UK that are censorious, literally trying to censor people. I think they backed off of some of their censorship just recently, and I'll get to that. I'll find that. UK under presses ahead with Orwellian surveillance online safety act. So the UK arrests more people for what they post on social media than any other nation, and it's not even close. This according to Forbes. Police are making more than 30 arrests a day over what they deem to be offensive online posts. Retweets are cartoons. That's 12,000 arrests per day. Now, Keir Starmer is about to turn the smartphone into a government surveillance device with access to all your private messages. Wow, in real time. This is the terrifying endpoint for the Online Safety Act. And I have to read up on this because I thought I saw news that broke that he backed up off of this. But anyway, see, this is what we're dealing with our allies. If these people don't want to protect free speech, if they don't have the same values that we have, I think that America is in a precarious position. And this is why I love what President Trump is doing around the world. Frankly, I know people might call me you can call me a neocon, whatever. I think what Trump is doing is America first. He is putting America's interests first. And right now, Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, South Africa, North Korea, All of these countries are trying to undermine us. Venezuela was trying to undermine us. We can't have Russia and China in our own backyard. We seized another tanker today from Venezuela. Yes, I'm okay. Yes, I'm okay with that. Am I okay with Green? Yes, I want us to have Greenland, whether that's expanded military operations there so that it cannot be taken over by a Russia or China. Why? Because there are rare earth minerals there. And it is a great place for us to be able to protect ourselves from Russia, China. Unfortunately, we lost the Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan, which was another great place under the Biden administration. And we've got to protect ourselves. We got to protect our interests. And frankly, that includes Iran. I know people are asking, okay, what if someone worse comes into play in Iran? Really, someone worse that's going to slaughter 20,000 plus people, just walk up to them and shoot them in the head, shoot them in the chest? Not an administration, but totalitarians like that. I think it's in America's best interest and the West's best interest for the Iranian people to be free. They're not Arabs, they're Persians. And I think it is important for them to be free. If you can get rid of the control of Iran, I didn't even mean to go here right now, but I'm just trying to tie this together. You can get rid of the Ayatollah, and it looks like he may be accepting some cash. And the mullahs in Iran, you can create a free people. That makes the Middle East safer. That makes the United States safer. We'll be back. Wherever you go to get your podcast, Salem Podcast Network, we are there as well. So appreciate you guys being out there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I do have more that I want to bring to your attention. Let's come back in, Gabe, without any lead up. Let's come back into Tim Walz. And I'm kind of going back and forth with this stuff, but I believe it's all interconnected. I really do. I don't believe these stories exist in a vacuum. You've got people, outsiders that want to take us down, the foreigners, whether it's China, whether it's Iran, and then you've got the insiders that want to take us down. So let's come back with cut 40, por favor, Gabe.
Like that. Careful touching shit. What's all
Cut
that?
40, yes, sir.
What's all that? Area ID description. Okay, so it looks like descriptor cards. Yeah, it's been picked over pretty good. Yeah, they picked this shit clean. The other one, they found another ID. Yeah, another ID's in there. So they're getting agent IDs right now too. Couple guys. Oh, come on, see the they got their document in there too. Who want to want it? You feed it at me, bro. Oh boy. And they got the entire. I got light. What? Huh? Why don't I know? So a couple ICE vehicles here got ransacked and blocked. Point of notice is that apparently they got ICE's entire but they were carrying, I don't know why, whatever, but they were carrying their packet of their mission details of Minneapolis as a whole. And whoever, I don't know, whatever. They should tell you how not like the military they are, because I don't know, it's wild work. That's some paperwork you don't want to lose, especially in this environment.
Okay, so they ransacked some ICE vehicles. They had weapons in there. They had IDs of some of the ICE agents, apparently, or some documentation where you can find. A lot of these people are being doxxed. There was some type of leak where ICE agents' names are being released. Guys, this isn't just about ICE. This is about literally lefties want to be able to control police officers. You know, in your city or your county, you have a county sheriff. You realize your county sheriff is one of the most important and powerful people in your state, in your county, so on, etc. These people on the left want to be able to control all of these guys, where they have no say, where they're all they do is the bidding of the Democrat Party. And what's funny is they always project this nonsense onto the right, when all we want police officers to do, all we want ICE agents to do is to do their job. I mean, it's stunning to me. You may get tired of Trump, and I understand there's Trump fatigue out there. Sometimes every story seems to be about Trump, and I think that people can tend to get tired of that. I'm just being completely real, and you know that it's true. But nonetheless, if we can focus on the policies, and if you can understand what the left wants to do to this country, Trump wants to make this country great again, wants to make this country better. And that is economically, that is militarily, that's prosperity wise. I appreciate, even though I don't like what's happening with this Hyde Amendment, seemingly, I don't like what's happening with these weak-kneed Republicans that won't fight back against Obamacare and won't fight back against abortion. That drives me absolutely nuts. But I will say that is a much better prospect to have Trump in power and Republicans win the elections in 2026, the midterms, because otherwise this is what you're going to get. If you don't, all you have to do is go back to the COVID lockdowns. I mean, it's just insane to me what's happening here. Here is some good news I do want to share. If we can go to cut number 42 real quick here, Gabe. And I got this is from the Supreme Court. They handed down a monumental win. We'll get to the trans stuff a little later, but they handed down a monumental win. Cut number 42, an election integrity win, which is massive, which is a good thing. And I think this is also why, or at least this is going to send the left panicking as well. Cut number 42.
Today, there was a major victory at the United States Supreme Court in a case involving a Illinois congressman who wanted to challenge Illinois' practices of allowing mail-in ballots to be counted for 2 weeks after Election Day. And the lower courts had said that he didn't have standing to challenge that. Imagine that. A candidate for federal office doesn't have standing to challenge a federal election. And today the Supreme Court ruled that, yes, he did. I was proud to be a co-author of the United States amicus brief in that case. This is very important. It's really going to open up a lot of opportunities, because in the 2020 election, which a lot of people are still concerned about, court after court said that these candidates couldn't challenge the elections, and only you were left with some lefty advocates and Mark Elias's of the world were allowed to, but candidates weren't. So that's insane.
Okay. That is a huge win. That is a major win. Guys, again, I'm convinced without illegal immigration, all right, I'm convinced that if elections are fair, if you can't continue on Election Day, I'm one of these people. I believe that you should vote on Election Day. All right. Or if there's I don't even want early voting. I don't like that. I don't like mail-in ballots, with the exception of those that are military people that are overseas, elderly people or disabled. Frankly, I believe that those are the only people that should be allowed to obtain mail-in ballots with ID, with photo ID, with verification, one vote, one ballot. I don't think you should be able to collect it unless, being able to collect ballots for friends and all that's completely insane to me. Unless it's a spouse, unless it's an immediate family member who can vote or mentally able to vote but can't get there. So there's always some exceptions, but for the most part, I believe there should be not same day. I mean, there should be Election Day. I don't think you should be able to register the day of voting. Because I just think that it makes the system rife with fraud. And so I think this is a major win for the United States. I think this is a major win for election integrity as well. So this is a big deal. I want to go to one more clip. Man, I got so much to get to, and it's insane. Actually, I have more clips, but I want to go to this. I want to go to cut number 44. This is Tom Homan. The Minneapolis ICE surge is 100% self-inflicted by sanctuary cities. So this is what you have to understand. The left has the ability to calm down the situation in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. They don't want to. Cut number 44, please, Kate.
President Trump made his promise to American people, we're going to find these criminals and make this America safe again. So if they don't let us in a jail, we're going to go in the community. And the difference is, in places that's not a sanctuary, one agent can walk into a jail and arrest one criminal illegal alien. But when you release them in the community, now we got to send the whole team because we got to arrest somebody on their turf. They have access, who knows what weapons. It makes it dangerous for the officer, makes it dangerous for the alien, certainly makes it dangerous for the community. So if Minneapolis wants to help, like I saw Mayor Frey doing an interview this morning, let us in your damn jail. What's the downside of letting a federal law enforcement officer with immigration authority talk to an illegal alien that you already locked up and put in a jail cell? It's ridiculous that they're pushing back on that.
See, that's so important, right? Did you know that? And this is what I explained earlier. These ICE agents could literally walk into jails and take these people without having to worry about any of the public seeing or getting involved. But Mayor Frey doesn't want it that way. Tim Walz doesn't want it that way. Sanctuary cities don't want it that way. Why? Because they want chaos. They don't want the rule of law. You elect Democrats, your city is going to go cray-cray. I mean, it's as simple as that to me. But we are scoring some wins. Again, I love the fact that at the Supreme Court, we scored this election integrity win, which is absolutely massive. Of course, someone running for federal office should be able to challenge elections. Democrats did it in 2000. They called George Bush illegitimate for God knows how long. They were calling Trump an illegitimate president. You had Hillary Clinton derive this Russia collusion hoax along with James Comey, Obama, and the rest of them. I mean, it's absolutely insane to me what's going on. Let me, did I mention 36? Could not. Okay. Oh, let me mention this story because I got, here's a good story. All right. This from Just the News as well. So we are having some wins. I want to make sure that I report these. So Mahmoud Khalil, you guys remember that one of the leaders that was inciting all of these anti-Jewish protests on these college campuses. So an appeals court rules that the judge had no jurisdiction over Mahmoud Khalil deportation. They said he could not be deported. So a federal appeals court on Monday ruled that the judge who presided over the legal challenge to the Trump administration's efforts to deport Mahmoud Khalil lacked the jurisdiction to do so. Though the court found that the New Jersey district court had jurisdiction over a specific petition from Khalil, it also found that federal legislation had deprived it of subject matter jurisdiction. This is what the circuit court said, quote, or the Third Circuit Court. Our conclusion about habeas jurisdiction requires us to answer a second question. Did the Immigration and Nationality Act strip the New Jersey District Court of subject matter jurisdiction? It did, they said. So we hold that the district court lacked jurisdiction over Khalil's removal proceedings. So again, Khalil was this high-profile deportation. It was a high-profile deportation effort. The administration was stymied in sending them back. We'll see if that comes to an end. Also, another piece in Just the News: the Secret Service suspended an agent on Vice President Vance's detail over leaked video. So a Secret Service agent who was on J.D. Vance's detail was suspended after he was recorded in an undercover video talking about sensitive parts of his job. Guys, we have got to pray for our leaders. We have got to pray for our law enforcement. We have some wackos out there, including still in the deep state. We'll be back with more. All right, welcome back to the show. I was talking about before we went to the break what was this Secret Service agent with the Secret Service agent that was on J.D. Vance's detail, VP Vance's detail. Just absolutely insane. So the video was recorded by an undercover reporter for conservative activist James O'Keefe and was verified by the Secret Service as authentic. Again, a Secret Service agent who was on Vice President Vance's security detail was suspended after he was recorded in an undercover video talking about sensitive parts of his job. The video shows the agent talking to a woman he believed he was meeting for a date. This blew me away. I thought it was a chick he was with for a long. No, he was meeting her for a date. During the date, The agent talked about serving in Vance's security detail, including sharing information about the movement of Vance to and from his home at the Naval Observatory in D.C. He also showed her his badge after she asked. Wow. Deputy Secret Service Director Matthew Quinn told News Nation that the agent has been placed on administrative leave and his clearance has been suspended. Honestly, he's got to go bye-bye. I mean, he's a Secret Service. Shh, that's your job. Like, good Lord. Investigate money and all that stuff, too, and protect the VP. But the U.S. Secret Service, who is this from? This is, according to Quinn, the Deputy Secret Service Director. I'm getting some type of weird feedback, Gabe. The U.S. Secret Service has no tolerance for any behavior that could potentially compromise the safety, privacy, or trust of our protectees. The U.S. Secret Service has also issued an order for all personnel in order to ensure employees are aware of the threats posed by individuals aiming to exploit agency employees for it. Like, you don't know this if you're a part of the Secret Service. That is insane to me. That honestly, that's so disconcerting. I really don't even know what to say about that. I hope Trump has picked the right guy to lead the Secret Service. I mean, it's been some time. He hasn't been shot at, but there's been some episodes where it's like, what's going on? The president still seems vulnerable. All right, we got more clips that I do want to play as well. Man, there's so many. I don't even know if we have time to get to them all, but we'll get to as many as we possibly can. I'm not always a big clip guy, but there's just so much going on in the news. And since I'm live on Mondays and Thursdays now, I need to make sure that I catch up and share with you guys as much as I possibly can. Let me do this because I wanted to, I did say that I would talk about the elections. I talked about Iran a little bit. I'm one of these people that I'm hoping, I think that a weak Iran or a free Iranian people make for a better, safer, more peaceful world. Right now, apparently Trump has called off a strike, or so to speak. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But they were slaughtering those people in the street, completely lying about it. And man, I just felt so bad for those people. Carl, should America get involved? America is involved, whether you like it or not. Iran thinks that we're the big Satan. I don't get this mentality. Oh, America first. Only concentrate on America. Okay. So only concentrate on America until when? Until they bomb us with the help of Russia, with the help of China? Like what do we do? This makes no sense to me. You want to make our allies in the Middle East safer? You get rid of the mullahs and you get rid of the Ayatollah Khamenei, and then we don't have to worry about them. I mean, it's simple for me. I want less war. So if you can find a way to get rid of your enemies, you get rid of your enemies. Let me, since I've gone there, let me share this. This was from the Wall Street Journal, and I just got to read some of this because I just thought it's absolutely amazing. America is the sole superpower again, guys. When America is the sole superpower, the world is a better place. It absolutely is. All right. So this is a Wall Street Journal. It happened after World War II and after the Cold War, and it's happening now. President Trump has thrust the U.S. into another unipolar moment, a time when a single great power dominates the globe and crafts a new world order. So remember all of these people on the left. What was that? Klaus Schwab and all. You will own nothing and be happy. What's that group? I forget what they're called right now. The name escapes me. But all these global elitists that wanted to run the world, and Trump is resetting it. And in the bigger scheme of things, Trump is resetting it. He's undoing all of the mistakes of the Biden administration, of the Obama administration, frankly, some of the mistakes of the Iraq and Afghanistan war. I know that President Bush had, I do believe his heart was in the right place. You're not going to be able to nation build and change the minds of people that worship Allah. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that that's possible. The greatest intention, so on, etc. We see what happened. Trump is doing this. I got to admit, I've been more impressed with his foreign policy than anything else. He's just been phenomenal. The strike against Iran's nuclear sites, the ceasefire in Gaza, according to the Wall Street Journal, the capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, together show that the U.S. controls the tempo and direction of world events, which may also come to include regime change in Iran. One could only hope. That's me. Back to Wall Street, the Wall Street Journal piece. It has long been recognized that the U.S. is a superpower, a sovereign state able to exert its influence and force on a global scale, but it now stands alone among the current great powers, with China sliding into a distant second place. Superpower status demands on economic as well as military strength. The U.S. economy is poised for a strong 2026, with predictions of gross domestic product growth ranging between 2% and more than 5%. That would be insane. That would be amazing, by the way. In addition, from AI to quantum computing and space, the U.S. reclaiming the heights of high tech after ceding too much advantage to China over the past 2 decades. The U.S. is also taking major steps to close the rare earths gap with China, which will deprive Beijing of one of its principal claims to global economic dominance. I think that tells you where to invest as well. Meanwhile, America's economic muscle includes domestic oil production that has reached almost 14 million barrels a day. While lowering energy prices worldwide, this output de-risks global economic growth and undermines Russia's hopes for a long-term regional hegemony. By bringing Venezuela's oil exports, which China received at a discount, into play, the Trump administration will be holding a dagger aimed at China's energy heart. Guys, this is Trump using energy to fight against Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. Like all these people, hey, we don't want boots on the ground. He hasn't even put boots on the ground, with the exception of a few minutes in Venezuela. Another important aspect of this revived superpower dominance has been the role of tariffs. Mr. Trump has used them to restore fair trade and put more revenue in the U.S. Treasury, but he has also used them to control the direction and details of global trade by taking advantage of the U.S. economic advantage as the world's biggest consumer. His policy on energy, tax cuts, and deregulation will reinforce that advantage from the supply side while setting a manufacturing boom in motion. The last time the U.S. enjoyed primacy as a sole superpower was 25 years ago. For a decade after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union, but Washington allowed that opportunity to slip away as the U.S. industrial base declined and China stepped into the power vacuum left by the Soviet Union. And that was just dumb on our parts. Listen, guys, here's the bottom line. We're not better people, but we are a better country. That isn't being cocky. That isn't being conceited. That isn't being arrogant. That's telling the truth as it is. There's a reason why people will risk their lives to come here. And not all people. We see some people scamming us in Minnesota, in California. But there's a reason that people will risk their lives to come here more than any other country on God's given earth. That's because this is the greatest country that God has given man. And people know that. So what President Trump is doing by restoring America to dominance makes the whole world a better place, because now we're that shining city on the hill. We're that country that the rest of the world wants to look up to again. We're not evil. We're not bullies. All right. We're the world's big brother, if you will. Hey, this is how it can be done. Capitalism, strong military, free speech, immigration rules, energy, education. We got to approve there. This is how it can be done. So kudos to President Trump. So anyway, all right, more when we get back. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Please Follow me, all things social media, at Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
So this is actually the location for Silver Mountain Inc., LLC, and Co. Let's see if any... Yes, we're wondering where Silver Mountain.
Silver Mountain?
Silver Mountain.
Oh, I don't know that. Where it is.
It says 2722 Park Avenue.
All of you, get out of here.
Where
Is
is
Silver Mountain here?
Fuck Silver Mountain. You don't have a permission to do that.
Okay,
You
so
were
Silver Mountain does not exist.
You were
No, the name,
doing...
the
I don't
name's
give a
not,
shit.
the name's
I
not
don't-
fuck
don't-
Silver Mountain, it's just Silver Mountain
Don't
Home
ask me
Healthcare.
that. When you come...
All right,
So
sir.
Silver
Well,
Mountain?
so
This
Silver.
is not a waste.
So
That's
Silver
the
Mountain
way
does
to
not
make a
exist.
business. You're making a
2722
business.
Park
You have
Avenue.
millions of people watching you.
Silver
You're making
Mountain.
business to
Okay,
600
sir.
people.
2720.
You have millions of people watching right
Yes.
now. Where is Silver Mountain
I don't
Home
know where
Healthcare?
Silver Mountain is.
Okay, well that's what we're
But
looking for. All right, we're
me
moving on.
sitting there-
So Silver Mountain does not exist. David, we're just simply asking for where is Silver Mountain Home
Can't
Healthcare?
find any of these companies. I mean, this is shocking. 3 companies are supposed to be in that building, and he's never heard of them. He doesn't know anything about them.
Let's go to cut number 48 because this is important. This is actually Senator Josh Hawley. He says what the Democrat Party is doing in Minnesota is their plan nationwide to launder money for foreigners, NGOs, and then get the money back as campaign donations. Exactly what I said. That's why this guy is brilliant. Cut number 48, please, Gabe, Senator Josh Hawley.
Here's the deal. The Democrats' agenda is on display in Minnesota. They want to turn the entire country into Minnesota. That's the real agenda. Take your money, your hard-earned tax money, give it to illegals whom they let into the country, who then launder it to enrich themselves and send it overseas to terrorist organizations. I mean, that is the Democrat Party at work. That is their lab right now in Minnesota, and that's what they want to do. I don't think that's going to be a winning formula in 2026 or 2028 or ever, and yet that's where they are.
Man, is it possible, Gabe, that was AI of me? Like they just put a Josh Hawley's face on. It's. I mean, I think it's possible. One more with Nick Shirley. Let's play cut number 51, if we could. A TSA whistleblower exposed to Nick Shirley that he watched Somali send millions of dollars. This is what we talked about before. So you have these people that are literally laundering money out of the country, but also circling money back into the Democratic coffers. And again, I'm starting to wonder if, and I'm not the only one to say it, but if that is the reason Tim Walz was picked, because he could bring a buttload of money to Kamala Harris's campaign. I really do. I'm starting to wonder that. Cut number 51, pull 5. Yeah.
Airport police for 31 years. 24 of those years I worked in narcotics at MSP Airport. And my recollection was from about 2015-16 to 2021 when I retired. I would get emails from our dispatch saying like 2 male Somali descent individuals. They would give us their names. They claimed the cash, that they had a large amount of cash at the checkpoints. We'd get all this information in an email, and I believe they would send it right away. So TSA would contact our dispatch telling us this, then our dispatch would relay the info via email to us.
And how much was the money?
The money, the smallest amount in a suitcase that I heard was like $750,000. But generally, it was anywhere from $1 million to $6 million in a suitcase. And there usually was, as far as I can remember, there was always 2 individuals traveling. So you would have maybe one guy with $2.2 million and another guy with $3 million. And
at airports, you're able to take $10,000 without declaring it. How are these guys able to take millions of dollars?
Because as far as I know, as long as they declared it, they were fine. So then TSA would contact HSI and Customs, and I'm sure they got the information. We got the information. My administration knew about it, and I trust that they sent that on to higher state officials on this. But Nothing was ever done the whole time I was there. I talked to one individual. We were going after narcotic cash leaving the airport. This was always fraud. We had no nexus to that this cash was related to narcotics. So our hands were kind of tied. We couldn't do a whole lot.
How do you suspect these Somalians had millions of dollars to move in an airport?
We would rack our heads all the time, like, where are they getting this? Where in the world are they getting this money? And I had heard about these daycares and whatnot, but I mean, I thought at the time, okay, maybe they had 10 daycares, but apparently they have a lot more than that. We were all just racking our heads trying to figure this out.
So you openly saw just millions of dollars get moved through these airports?
I saw one time, I saw an open suitcase with the cash because we were looking into seeing if it was narcotics related, which it was not.
How much money do you think moved through the airport in your time?
Millions, literally millions and millions. We're talking.
We can end that one there.
A good.
We can end that one there, Gabe. Honestly, guys, I mean, we just have to understand, on all fronts, the left is trying to take America down, or allowing America to be taken down. When I speak of all fronts, I'm talking about exterior factors. I'm talking about the Russia, China, Iran, trying to be friendly with them, willing to consider them equals and deal with them. And it's fascinating to me. All these people, all Trump is a stooge for Russia and stuff like that. Meanwhile, he's making it difficult for Russia to make money in the oil market. They're trying to bring money. I mean, trying to ship over ghost shipments or ghost ships of oil, full of oil to Russia. Trump and the Department of Defense seizing these vessels. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. But the left, this is so crazy because I haven't even gotten to, I don't even know if we'll have time to get to it. I mean, literally the Supreme Court of the United States deciding, I just look at the left, they're destroying America in so many different ways. For one, they want to weaken America. They want us to be like every other nation in the world. Guys, we can't do that. We can't do that. To whom much is given, much is required. I believe that America has a responsibility to remain strong. We are the nation where we sent out, at least at one point we started, China was sending out more missionaries. But for those of you that are Christians or believers like me, I mean, sending the ability to be able to send out missionaries, having a strong economy. We are the most giving nation that has ever existed in the whole world. Whether people are, and I'm not talking about taxes, but I'm talking about charity, or whether you're giving to your church. It is important for America to remain the superpower. And the reason why we are the superpower is because of our Judeo-Christian values. There is no other nation that has adopted Judeo-Christian values like we have, implemented them into our rule of law and so on, etc. The closest we have, I think, is Israel, and in the Middle East. We used to count on our Western allies, but it seems like to me they're abandoning God. Here's another story, just real quick. This is from the Epic Times. 36,000 refugees couldn't provide IDs when entering the U.S. after the Afghanistan withdrawal. So under Operation Allies Welcome, a 2021 initiative under Biden, we all saw that debacle to resettle Afghans in the wake of that botched military withdrawal from the Middle East. Roughly 76,000 evacuees were led into the United States. The operation was meant to help Afghan allies who helped American forces and face a serious threat from the Taliban because of the employment. There was missing information from the Operation Allies Welcome population, including first, last names, date of birth, and dates of birth. The Deputy Inspector General Craig Adelman for the Office of Audits and Homeland Security says there was about 11 to 12,000 that did not know their date of birth. Although Afghan refugees were asked to provide identification, Adelman testified that about 36,000 could not prove or provide any form of ID. And of course that's the case. They also say lawmakers revealed that more than 50 individuals in the U.S. with confirmed or suspected terrorist ties. So Democrats are willing to allow terrorists into this country just so that they can bring in foreigners that will vote for them, that will be dependent on them. You see why all of this stuff is so important? I wanted to play one segment. I may have to. I tell you what. We'll go one last segment after this because I have to play this audio from Senator Josh Hawley. If we have time, some of the clips from SCOTUS, because I'm just hitting you from all angles. Guys, we cannot let Democrats win in 2026. We can't let them win in 2028. That's what I forgot to talk about. So we'll do that. We'll do that next. You are listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Please, just a reminder, guys, please like, share, and subscribe this podcast. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble. Please, wherever you watch, please like, share, subscribe. We would certainly appreciate that. All things social media at Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show. We will be back to close it out in just a minute. Okay, so I just want you to understand who you're dealing with the left and why we have to defeat these people. Let's go to cut number 54. This is Senator Josh Hawley. Senator Josh Hawley was asking an abortion doctor whether or not men could give birth. And she gave him the runaround. Guys, I want you to understand, these people on the left, they don't care for you. They're elitist. They think that they're better than you. They think they know better than you. They want to run your lives. They want to tell you what to do. They want absolute chaos. They want to fundamentally transform America. We cannot allow these people back in office. Even if you're watching this podcast and you hate President Trump, ignore everything he says. Watch what he does. Watch his policies and compare them to what the left is doing. They have nothing to offer. These people, I can't believe we even have to listen to or wait for a decision from the Supreme Court to determine whether or not men can play in female sports. Have we gone mad? I mean, this is insane. I forgot what cut I asked you to play, Gabe. Let's go to cut number 54.
I said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I
Doctor.
do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity.
You can cut this. Guys, this goes on and on and on for literally 5 minutes. This is a doctor that either won't or can't or refuses to tell the truth. A doctor. Frankly, I don't even believe you should be practicing medicine if you're not willing to deal with objective truth. I don't, or deal in objective truth, I should say. This is scary to me. This is why Obamacare needs to come to a screeching halt. I believe it's one of the ways the left wanted to depopulate the United States of America, send us on this road to socialized medicine. Again, one party rule, that's their goal. And I don't think Republicans are offering great examples. I know they came out with a plan today. I haven't sifted through it, but from what I have seen thus far, it's not been that impressive. Uh, Chip Roy is one of the ones in Congress asking Republicans, let's go for the gusto. And he's right. I think Republicans don't realize that a lot of times they lose. I think they can change. I think they can shake up the apple cart, if you will, whatever that saying is. They can change history. They can be like George W. Bush in 2002, Clinton, I believe it was, in 98, where they won their midterms, which is absolutely uncanny. This is technically Trump's second term, but still, I think it can be done. But I think people want to see results. I think President Trump is working at breakneck speed. Sometimes I think he has to take a breather and remind the American people what's been accomplished so far, what he inherited, and what else he intends to do. But America is much better off. We can't have wackos like this. We've got 8 Senate races, 1 in Texas that we have to win, and hopefully we will. But you've got a primary with Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. That race, I believe, that primary race is neck and neck. And Hunter, I forget his Congressman Wesley Hunt, I believe. I think he's about 10 points behind. So there's no telling, but he's getting his name out there. Jasmine Crockett will probably be the nominee. You've got Georgia, Senate race in Georgia. And guys, we've got to win this Senate race. Republicans at least have sought to reclaim at least one of the Peach State's 2 Senate seats, which were won by, you have Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff in early January of 2021 with the runoff election. So this year, Ossoff has no Democratic rivals to fend off, while Republicans show a crowded field in their bid to reverse their losing streak. So that's one that we do need to win. And honestly, it's weird. Georgia is just, there's no telling. Maine, obviously, Susan Collins, first elected in 96, has bucked the trend so far in New England. We'll see if that remains. Michigan, Republicans hope to capitalize on incumbent Senator Gary Peters' retirement to win a to win a seat there, with former Representative Mike Rogers running for the Senate there. In Ohio, you have Senator Sherrod Brown is trying to make a comeback, apparently. So his seat was won by Bernie Moreno. You have North Carolina. You also have Nebraska. So we have some seats. I think that we have a better chance of retaining the Senate than certainly we do the House. There's no doubt about it. But guys, I believe that we've got to make an effort to retain the House as well. There's just too much at stake. And the left has gone crazy. The left has gone crazy. And guys, again, I'm convinced none of this stuff is, don't give up now. I when I was filling in for Prager, when he first sustained his injury, and by the way, continue to pray for him. But when I was filling in for him, and I was, after President Trump had won the presidency, I told you guys, when Trump starts to deport people, when they go, the left is going to do everything to make it look nasty. It's going to look bad. You have to stay strong. I think there's some things that could be done, could be done better. Nonetheless, it has to get done. We need as many imported Democrats deported as quickly as possible, because that's what happened. You realize that. A lot of these people, Democrats wanted to come into the country, not because they wanted them to be a part of the fabric of America, not because they wanted them to be a part of the melting pot, but because they wanted them to be in perpetual poverty, or in some way, somehow owing the Democratic Party, like many of the Somalis do in Minnesota. And we got to stop that. The election integrity win that Harmeet Dillon, the video we played earlier, that is an absolute huge win. Democrats want to control the House. Republicans currently hold a 218-13 majority in the House. Well, not so much. I don't believe we hold that anymore with Marjorie Taylor Greene gone, but that's a very slim edge. We got to make sure that we retain the Senate at the very least, and I'm hoping that we can retain the House. This is just extremely, extremely important. I do want to play. We played that already. Still okay. Last week, Tim Walz said we're at war with the federal government. We're not at war with the federal government. As Greg Bavino said, head of ICE, even the Illinois governor allows these officers, local officers, or the mayor allows local officers to work with them to secure their facility. Governor Walz says ICE agents are going door to door ordering to turn in neighbors. This guy is still trying to stir stuff up. We are at war with the federal government. No, you're not, Tim Walz. We can't have people like this in office. These people aren't fighting for their neighbors. Tim Walz is fighting for his freedom. That's what he's fighting for. That's all he's concerned about. He's a left-wing radical that was fighting to fundamentally transform America. He's not going to get that shot. Now he wants to divide us, and he wants to save his butt. Guys, we have to win. We have to win. We have to win. Trump has great foreign policy. The economy is starting to come back. We still have a little ways to go, but we are much better off than we were a year ago. And all of this division that you see inside of Minneapolis, that's because of agitators on the left that won't follow the rule of law. All right. Until next time, guys, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.